Welcome to The Explainer, where today we're diving into Mark Twain's masterpiece, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. We're going to figure out just how America's most famous troublemaker managed to get away with, well, pretty much everything. And more importantly, what his wild schemes can tell us about work, freedom, and, well, human nature itself.
And really, it all kicks off with this one quote. This is from his, let's just say, very patient Aunt Polly. And this sentence, it just perfectly nails the entire conflict of the book, right? You've got this kid who just wants freedom and adventure up against a world that's all about duty and work. And that clash, well, that's the stage for every single one of Tom's brilliant schemes. So let's talk about the art of getting away with it. Tom's first great battle is against a fence. Yeah, a fence. He's been punished for playing hooky, and now he has to whitewash this massive thing on a perfect Saturday. You can just feel the misery, right? His whole world comes crashing down. But here's the thing about Tom. In this moment of total despair, he doesn't just figure out a way to get out of it. No. He comes up with a plan so ridiculously brilliant, it actually turns his punishment into a huge profit. Okay, so here it is. Tom's master plan, broken down into 4 simple, genius steps. See, he doesn't whine or complain, no way. Instead, he completely flips the script. He pretends this mind-numbing chore is actually an incredible artistic privilege. He tells his buddy Ben something like, hey, not just anyone can do this. Only maybe one boy in 1,000 can do it right. He creates this illusion of scarcity, right? He makes the work seem exclusive and desirable. And just like that, all the other boys are begging for a turn. And the haul? I mean, look at this. It is absolutely staggering. By the end of the day, that fence has 3, count 'em, 3 coats of whitewash. And Tom is basically a millionaire. But not in cash, no. This is something way more valuable in his world. This is the true currency of being a kid. I mean, a one-eyed kitten? A dog collar with no dog? This wonderfully bizarre pile of treasures proves he didn't just get out of work. He completely changed what value even means.
And here's the really brilliant part. Twain isn't just telling a funny story. He drops this profound psychological truth right into the middle of it all. The great law of human action. Basically, if you want to make someone desperately want something, you just have to make it hard to get. Think about it. Marketers, video game designers, they use this all the time. And Tom figures this out instinctively. He realizes that work is just something you have to do. But play? Well, that's anything you don't have to do. So let's take that idea, play versus work, and zoom out a bit, because it really blows up into the central theme of the whole book. We're talking about 2 completely different worlds constantly at war with each other, the world of rules and the world of absolute freedom. And you can see those 2 worlds right here. On one side, you've got Aunt Polly's world. This is the civilized life in St. Petersburg, you know? It's all about Sunday school, being forced to wash, wearing shoes, hating Monday mornings. But then you have Huck's world. This is Huckleberry Finn, the son of the town drunk, and he represents total, absolute freedom. For all the other boys who feel like they're choking in their Sunday best, Huck is basically a rock star. He's living the life they can only fantasize about. And this is so important to understand. The boys have their own society with its own completely separate set of rules. While the grown-ups are all about the Bible and sermons, the boys have this deep, dark folklore built on superstition. Real knowledge, real power in their world isn't about scripture. Oh no, it's about knowing exactly how to cure warts. And according to Huck, the absolute best way involves, yep, a dead cat, a graveyard, and a trip at midnight. Okay, so that belief in graveyard magic, that dead cat theory, well, this is where the adventure suddenly gets very, very real. The boys head to the cemetery to test out Huck's cure, but what they find there, it's not magic. It's a horrifying reality that is going to shatter their world of make-believe completely. Because this is the moment their childhood games just slam head-on into the grim, brutal world of adults. They're hiding, watching, as 3 men, Injun Joe, Muff Potter, and Dr. Robinson actually dig up a coffin. Suddenly, all those spooky stories they told each other, they're nothing compared to this. This is real. And then it gets worse. A lot worse. An argument over money breaks out. It explodes into a fight. The doctor knocks Muff Potter out cold. And in that one split second, Injun Joe grabs his chance. He stabs the doctor with Potter's own knife. And then he puts the bloody knife back in the hand of the poor, unconscious town drunk, framing him for the whole thing. You can imagine the terror.
The boys run for their lives, absolutely convinced that Injun Joe will hunt them down and kill them if they say a word. So they swear a blood oath, literally writing it in blood on a piece of wood, that they will never tell. And just like that, Tom is trapped. He's caught in this horrible moral vice, holding a secret that could get him killed while an innocent man's life is on the line. So, what do you do when you're weighed down by a dark, terrible secret and you just feel like nobody understands you? Well, if you're Tom Sawyer, you do what you do best. You escape. You run away. He ropes in his friends Joe Harper and Huck Finn, and they all head off to Jackson's Island to become pirates and just leave the whole messed up world behind. Meanwhile, back in town, everyone is panicking. After a few days, they find the boys' raft and they assume the worst. The whole town thinks they've drowned. Their families are completely devastated, and they plan a funeral service for that Sunday morning, which, of course, sets the stage for what is, without a doubt, Tom Sawyer's most dramatic, most theatrical, most incredible scheme of all time. Can you even imagine the scene? In a move that is just pure, unfiltered Tom Sawyer, the three dead boys just stroll right into the church, in the middle of their own funeral service. The grief in that room just turns to stunned silence and then to absolute joy. It is the ultimate power move. In one single, brilliant moment, Tom goes from being a troublemaking runaway to an absolute living legend. This, right here, is the peak of his boyhood fame. But here's the thing. You can be a legend. You can be the king of all the kids in town, but you can't run from your conscience forever. That secret about the murder is still eating away at him, and this is where we see a real shift in Tom. The story begins to move him away from just being a clever trickster who loves attention, toward being a young man who has to figure out what it actually means to be a hero. And that transformation really comes to a head at Muff Potter's trial. Tom has been racked with guilt, sneaking food to Muff in jail, but now it's Judgment Day. He's in the courtroom, and he's facing this impossible choice, the kind of choice that defines who you are. Tell the truth and risk the deadly, terrifying revenge of Injun Joe, or stay silent and let an innocent man be hanged for a crime he didn't commit. And what does he do? He makes his choice. Tom confronts his fear head-on. He gets on that stand, he tells the whole true story, and he saves Muff Potter. And in that exact moment, chaos erupts. Injun Joe literally leaps through a window and disappears into the wind. So Tom did the right thing, right? He's the hero of the town. But now he's a hero living in mortal terror because a murderer is on the loose, and that murderer knows exactly who snitched. His heroism gets tested again, but this time there's no crowd, no audience. He and Becky Thatcher get lost during a picnic, lost deep inside McDougal's cave. We're talking 3 days and 3 nights, trapped in absolute, total darkness. Their food is gone, their candles are almost out, and while Becky completely gives up, Tom keeps fighting. He refuses to give in to despair, and it's his courage, his sheer persistence that leads them to a brand new exit nobody knew about, saving both of their lives. But hold on, the adventure isn't quite over yet. Let's talk about the price of being rich, because Tom and Huck, they go back to that cave. They have a hunch that Injun Joe didn't just use it as a hideout. They're convinced he left something very important behind, the treasure. And they were right. They find it. Over $12,000 in gold. I mean, back then, that was an absolutely mind-boggling fortune. It's enough to change their lives forever. And as the town is celebrating them again, the widow Douglas decides to adopt Huck, to take him in and civilize him, which sets up the book's final and maybe most interesting conflict. Because for Huck, for the freest kid in the entire town, this new life of being rich is a prison. He absolutely cannot stand it. Think about it. Regular meals, clean clothes, praying all the time, being forced to wear shoes. It's everything he's never had to deal with. To him, it's just, as he says, awful regular. The dream that every other boy has, for Huck, it's a total nightmare. And this right here is the final brilliant irony of the whole book. Everything that Tom sees as the grand prize, the money, the adventure, the respectability, everything he's been chasing, Huck sees it as a trap, a cage. What is one boy's ultimate dream is the other boy's ultimate nightmare, a complete and total loss of freedom. And so the book leaves us with this huge, lingering question. Yeah, Tom manages to lure Huck back to civilization by promising he can join his new gang of respectable robbers, but that core tension is still there. So what is true freedom? Is it found in treasure and fitting into society's box? Or is it found in, sleeping in a barrel and just having the right to be yourself? It's a question Mark Twain was far from finished with, and it perfectly sets the stage for another, even greater American adventure.